Hey everyone, welcome back to questplay Skyrim, the Brotherhood of Old. This is Harness. I hope you all having a great day. We start out in the city of Markarth. We are looking for an initiate named Undil. We've already recruited a pair of Khajiit twins to the Dark Brotherhood, and we tried and failed to recruit a Nord named Ognar Hollowleg. Now, what you're going to want to do to recruit Undil is equip the Nightshade Dagger, which you should have in your inventory at this point. Then you're just going to want to sneak up behind him and stab him as hard as you can.
I'm on your side! Don't even think about it.
Don't worry if the Nightshade crumbles to dust, it's going to do that.
Interesting mix. I assume you're trying to poison me. But no, not trying to kill me. Are you trying to kidnap me? You are, aren't you? Okay, I'm interested. Where are we going? I'm bored of Markarth.
You come up to me, fists raised.
Alright, so basically, Undil is kind of happy that you're trying to kidnap him because he's a little bit of a lunatic. So what you do after you stab him with the dagger and convince him to go with you to the abandoned shack, he's gonna pop off and ask, what exactly is going on in here.
Yes?
So, what are we doing? Oh, who are they? They don't look so good.
Have you heard of the Dark Brotherhood? We... Oh, I guess you're just gonna go right to it then.
Did I pass?
Impressive. Now make your way to the frozen north near Dawnstar.
Innocence, my brother. Don't look too shocked. I can hear your thoughts. Everyone's thoughts, actually, all the time. I can't turn it off. Can't say it hasn't taken its toll, though.
When you get to the sanctuary...
I will. Mostly.
And...
I'll try and stop interrupting you.
Alright, so just like that, we have a bulk of the initiates that we're going to pick up for the beginning part of this quest. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is head back to Dawnstar in order to take the Vermina's Torpor, which, if you did the quest with Erendir/Casimir in Dawnstar, then this will be familiar to you, but if not, basically what it does is it allows you to live out the memory of another person. In this case, we're living out the memory of an Ultimer speaker of the Dark Brotherhood from the Third Era at the time of the Oblivion Crisis. Her name is Arquen. Or Arquen. And if you're just joining me today for the first time, welcome. Hope everyone's having a great day. And like I said, I am going to upload a separate video at the end of this series where I read through all of the books, quest notes, that kind of thing. But I do also tend to leave them up in the middle of the video as well, just in terms of just the visual alone.
I like it here. We should have you ever heard of...
You have something for me, Babette? Yes, the experience wasn't pleasant.
Right.
How'd you manage to get a hold of some?
Well, we found a lost little priest. It's amazing what we vampires can convince people to do if we ask nicely.
And now, basically, I'm gonna take the Torpor and live out that memory. Although, I think at first I was kind of undecided if I wanted to do it right then or right there.
last. Belisarius and I have been so confused. Where are we?
What is your last memory?
We both remember killing the traitor Chance, then entering the Night Mother's crypt, and then blackness.
Dear brother, he was no traitor. It was Matthew Bellamont who betrayed us.
What?
We were manipulated into killing our own, just as Lucian Silencer was. We were blind, desperate to end the strife, happy to find someone to blame. We couldn't see. We killed an innocent man, loyal to his last breath.
We're innocent, which means that we have broken. Oh dear.
Nephew.
Stand, my children. Allow me to introduce... Well, he doesn't really have a name anymore. For 2,000 years, he has been a powerful necromancer. One with a specialty that will become very relevant to us in a moment. While his flesh has long since decayed, his mind and his soul are powerful beyond measure. Over the years, the Brotherhood has procured him countless scores of victims. He owes us many favors.
Mother, may I ask what you are doing with our family members?
Your family members are right here, child. The Brotherhood is your true family. But it is a fair question. The three of you attacked and killed Lucian LeChance, and you murdered my children at Cheydinhall. These things make a mother grieve. You must face punishment.
The wrath of Sithis.
Of course, but not in a traditional sense.
LeChance was as guilty as we are for cheating.
In the 8 years since you murdered him like a pig, he has paid his debt 1,000 times over. This is not about LeChance. Now, answer your question. Your family members are here. They will become vessels for your souls. How did our friend explain it? Only blood can renew blood.
What is expected of us, Mother?
The Brotherhood is falling apart. Across Tamriel, sanctuaries have less active members with each passing year. I have always feared that my family would end this way, quietly, with not a soul in Tamriel remembering who we were. But there is hope. Within LeChance, there was a passion for the Brotherhood of the likes that I have not seen in hundreds of years. If we can ignite that passion in someone else, we can save the Brotherhood.
How can we ignite that passion without LeChance, dear mother?
20 years before his death, Chance had a child, a boy. On one of his contracts, before his promotion to Speaker, Chance was sloppy. Neither I nor our dread father knew of this at the time. But Sithis has told me of the child. We must find this child and inform him of his destiny. It will be through the blood of LeChance that we will save our family. Speaker Arquen, Speaker Arius, and Speaker Alor, you have violated one of the 5 sacred tenets of the Dark Brotherhood. You are hereby stripped of rank, and you will find the child of Lucian LeChance in Tamriel. Only once you have the child will you know the peace of the void. Go with our dread father, children.
Yes,
Yes, mother.
Where are we going to search? LeChance has journeyed all over Tamriel.
This is an impossible task. How will the 3 of us search an entire continent?
We'll each take 3 provinces. I'll take Morrowind, Cyrodiil, and Blackmarsh. Arquen, High Rock, Hammerfell, and Skyrim. Belisarius, the remaining 3.
So if you've never had experience with Vermina's Torpor before, basically what it does is it allows you to live out the memory of someone else, and in this case, it also can transport you across space. So if you never played the Oblivion Dark Brotherhood, basically what was going on here is your player character, who was a silencer to Lucien LeChance. And as such, you were eventually manipulated into killing other members of the Black Hand, which is the governing body of the Dark Brotherhood. And everyone thought that LeChance was guilty, so Arquen, Allure, and Arius, the three speakers that we just saw, killed Lucien LeChance, and thinking that he was in fact the traitor. However, it turns out that the traitor was another speaker named Matthew Bellamont, who harbored a grudge against LeChance for killing his mother on a contract nearly 20 years before the start of the Oblivion Crisis. So, Lucien LeChance was framed for the murder of the other speakers of the Black Hand and was tortured and killed. So the idea here is Lucien had a child before he died, and that child will become important to the Brotherhood. And this is the kind of thing where there's a little bit of a fantasy element to it, just because, not just because you have an ancestor who's a murderer doesn't mean you're a murderer, obviously, but in the Elder Scrolls, things do tend to pass along bloodlines, and that's the angle that we're kind of leaning on here when we crafted this story. Yeah. And I feel so bad for these Sanctuary Guardians, because they're just displaced brothers, and you're in there just bopping them over the head. Yeah, so you're going to pick up Arquen's first clue in this chest here. And what we're going to do next is head to the Markarth Sanctuary, which is located through the Warrens. So in a second here, you'll see me fast travel to Markarth, and then head to the Warrens, so that way I can find the Markarth Sanctuary. Yeah, and so once you have found the Markarth Sanctuary and meet up with this courier, who actually is going to start the dead drop missions that we have, which is, again, it's another throwback to Oblivion. So the dead drops are a series of contracts that are outside the normal Brotherhood system, or outside the normal Listener Night Mother system, that you have to try and come up with unique ways to solve. For instance, in Oblivion, one of the contracts had you loosen like the head of a boar or something like that, where you had to drop it on a contract's head, that kind of thing. And so this is something that actually I didn't really have much involvement in terms of the writing, but that was something that was added by the initial mod creator, Tom Tesoro. And I think it's overall it's a good addition to the quest. It kind of helps fill out the quest a little bit, especially if you're going to be doing these quests in kind of like a haphazard way, where it's you do one quest and then maybe you go back to either like the main quest or another side quest, and then you come back to this quest and you could do one of the side quests. That is one thing that I didn't quite take into account when I was initially writing this. Like, I imagine people might be fast traveling more than they actually are, so it kind of had you traipsing all over Skyrim, which is something in retrospect didn't really think is necessarily like the most straightforward path. I think it'd be cool to like implement some kind of system where instead of having to go back to like Dawnstar to get like contracts, it's like the Night Mother can suddenly like reach out through the void and talk to you. Yeah, and so if you are having trouble finding the clue in this sanctuary, what you're going to want to do is you're just going to kind of look in the guide here. It shows specifically on the local map where we're going, but it's kind of in the corner of this room that we're in right now, and it's hidden away, so it's not super easy to spot. But once I pick up the local map and just kind of see, so it's in that one corner, and then we've got the entrance hallway adjoining to the bigger chamber. But yeah, so just if you're having trouble finding where that clue is, then by all means, please reference this guide. So it's just that way you can find that clue a little easier and make the quest move forward a little faster for yourself. And if you haven't had the chance to play this quest, again, it is something that I do kind of recommend, because what it does is it gives the Dark Brotherhood an epilogue for both Skyrim and for Oblivion. So once I've made myself to Solitude, the next thing that you want to do is leave the Solitude gates. And from there, we're just going to follow the road down a little bit, where we will find a desolate shack that has the remains of Speaker Arquen. And so the idea here is basically Arquen, Alor, and Arius, they were speakers of the Black Hand at the Oblivion Crisis. Arquen, she is an Altmer, and so she has a very long lifespan. Alor, Dunmer, also has a long lifespan, but Arius, who was not, he was just a man, did not have nearly as long a lifespan as the other two. So Arquen was searching for LeChance's heir for a long time. I have to say, one thing about modding Skyrim ever since I started doing this about a year ago, just kind of like just some of the views that you get, like especially when I was going through here and going kind of like under the Solitude Pass, it's just like it really reminds me of just like kind of like how beautiful a game it is, like especially the base game, and then adding mods on top of that, it's awesome. I've wanted to get videos like this for a long time, and I'm glad that I'm doing it. Alright, so if you just keep going underneath the arch, you'll find the shack here, pretty much beyond these rock croppings. And what I would recommend doing is picking up the Journal of Arquen first and reading it if you want to, but before taking the time to read it all the way, just close it out real quick. That way you'll get the dialogue scene with Arquen. Just because the journal is a little bit on the longer side. And one thing you'll notice is happening here during this cutscene is I'm playing with my E&B a little bit, so I apologize for that.
It is an honor to finally meet you, listener. In due time, listener. I was in Skyrim for nearly 70 years. Over time, I came to realize that LeChance had visited nearly every inch of it. After years of fruitless searching, my hope dwindled. I maintained regular contact with Banis and Belisarius. 140 years ago, Belisarius passed. His nephew was already 35 when he was possessed. His search ended in failure. I looked to no avail, but on the bright side, I was able to eliminate the southern part of Skyrim. 15 years later, I had received disturbing word regarding Banis Elor in Morrowind. It took me years to find him. He had betrayed the Brotherhood, hijacked his cousin's body, and became a member of the Morag Tong. The details are in my journal. What Banis said to me had disturbed me to my very being. He said that the Brotherhood was dead and forgotten. He had spoken with Belisarius, and between them they only knew of 3 active sanctuaries in all of Tamriel. I had known of 3 myself, but by that time, Dawnstar had closed its doors. 5 sanctuaries in all of Tamriel? The Brotherhood was nothing. My family abandoned me. For 20 years, I stopped looking. Then one day, I was shopping in Solitude, and I saw a man from across the marketplace. His eyes were Lucian's. I knew that I had found the Descendant, so I met with him and explained the situation. He became enraged and stabbed me. My reflexes were dull. I hadn't handled a blade in almost 100 years. You will find the man's house near, just outside of Solitude. The family name is Amatius. Go with Sithis, listener. Long live the Brotherhood.
Thank you for joining me for Chapter 2 of the Brotherhood of Old. I hope you'll join me for the next video where we actually meet the descendant of Lucian Lachance here in Skyrim. And I hope you have a great day and are staying safe during the quarantine.